Alright, we're going to go over adding a customer to Ion Pool Care. So the first thing you want to do is go to the Customers tab. Come down here to Add Customer. This little screen is going to pop up. And now I'm just going to work top to bottom, starting at customer name, and just go over the pieces of information that need to be put in and how to put them in. So starting at customer name, it's red, meaning it needs to be placed in there. Last name always goes first. So Doe, then John, Doe, comma John. If there is a business name, say it's an apartment complex, you would put the business name on the next line. Then we're going to go to the first name, last name, the home phone number, mobile number if they do have one. Email always needs to be put in the system. Ion uses email for a lot of things. So every customer needs to always have one. On file, we don't use the password section for anything. Then of course we drop down to the billing address, first and last name. Then of course we have the line 1. You can put the street numbers and the street name here. As well, the city, state, and zip code. That is the format that it needs to be in at all times. Last name, comma, space, first name. Phone numbers need to have these hyphens. Email always needs to be there. Street address in this location. The city capitalized. The state capitalized. Uniformity goes a long ways. Copy from billing address, and bam, now you have both. In some cases, there will be a different billing address from the service address. That is a case-by-case basis, in which case you would fill those out independently from each other. Now we're going to drop down to the office location. It's in Dallas. So let's say if it was in Plano or Allen or McKinney, they would fall into the Dallas bracket. But let's say it was Southlake or Fort Worth for that matter, Bedford, Euless, you would actually choose the Fort Worth office. In this case, we're going to choose Dallas. The zone always corresponds. All of this stuff down here is used for filtering data when we're trying to look up information on customers in bulk or for the technicians. Then we have the customer type, multiple different types of customers. As you can see, just choose the one that you're corresponding to based on what you sold them. So if it's a weekly service, full service, you have that option. Partial service, there's the signature service. Say you only sold them a recurring filter cleaning package. We have the PPC, it's Pool Protection Club. In this case, we're going to choose full service. Then we skip over here to the service profile. What this does is it identifies the checklist that the technician actually is required to fill out in the field. So based on the service profile that you choose, that determines what they're actually going to be required to close out when they're doing a job on site on a weekly recurring basis. So example, the full and SIG checklist, they're going to have to say that, I vacuumed, I net, I brushed, I added these chemicals, and I checked these chemicals. With the partial checklist, it'll be a little bit different, and with the filter checklist, it'll be a little bit different, but it will not let them close out that job unless those required fields have actually been completed. So we'll choose full SIG checklist in this case. That means a full service or signature. Those are two different full service cleaning packages that we offer. Then we have our billing methods, tax codes, tax items, and tax authority. These little groups, that's all in QuickBooks. We never need to fill that out. You can just leave that alone. In the case that this is a full service account that we're setting up, if we're assigning it to a technician on a weekly basis, say we're going to put it on Charlie's route for Tuesdays, we would actually go to the route section right here, and you would choose Charlie's Tuesday. And now it'll actually show up in the customer detail. That way, if I want to look at Charlie's Tuesday route, all of the pools that he has on that day, it'll make it a lot easier for me to actually search on that That'll be in a separate video, of course, explaining how to do that in the customer module. But for now, just know that we need to assign that route, whether it's at the time that we initially create this account, or let's say we go out there and we do some repairs, and then that we speak to them later, and they want to sign up for weekly service. We would need to go back and then change this from nothing, because they weren't assigned to a route, to the day of service and the technician. And then, of course, the side information right here, community name, community codes, lock combo codes. So let's say you have to get through a security gate and they have a code. You can put that right there, as well as they have actually a lock on their gate itself. You can put that right there. We always need to indicate whether they have dogs or not. It's very important, especially to let the tech know if there's a dog or not. So always put yes or no. You can put access sides on there, left or right. Usually that's only used in the case that it's very specific. The customer only has one gate and it's kind of hard to find. So for the most part, that's not used because it's finding a gate, but you can use that. Then you can, of course, put the pool volume right here. Once we have actually gone out and assessed the pool, getting that data is very valuable. You speak with the technician, look at the photos of the pool, find out what is that volume, and then you can put that right here, and now we know it's 25,000 gallons of water. And then, of course, facility descriptions. If there are certain directions that we need to be aware of, technicians do not see the facility descriptions. Only the office does. So these are notes specifically for ourselves to answer questions if the tech has them later, or to query on ourselves just as reminders. So facility description in this case, park on Preston and walk to George Bush, something like that. Maybe it's a weird access point that we need to be aware of. And then we have the source type, which is how did they hear about us, which is also great information to have. That way we know how our marketing is actually working and where we're dominantly getting stuff on. We can query on this later and run a report on it. So let's say it came from Google, and then you're good to go. We have all these sub options. Active account will always be yes. Email opt-out, we always leave no. Service on hold, we always leave as no, unless you've been instructed, of course, to place the account on hold due to payment issues or things along those lines. Accounting sync hold, also no. That'll stop it from going to QuickBooks. So that is all of the information that you need to fill out and how it should look every time it gets filled out. And by doing these things, it makes it so that later when we need to run reports, it's a lot easier. So that is it. Hit the submit button, and now we have John Doe in the. Hold on. Looks like we already have customer name already exists. It's good to know. Customer name already exists. Put that number 1 right there, and there we go. Just learned something right there too.